I started to scream, what happened? All the ceiling was on the floor. I grabbed the ceilings with my hands and tried to pull them away just to know where the babies were.
Hard times are here. Hundreds of thousands of people have already lost their job.
There is an institutional racism in the police, we know that, and it needs to be taken out.
Are you okay? Where are you going?
UK! England!
This is the helipad on the top of the St George's Hospital in Beirut. The time is just after 6 on an uneventful Tuesday evening, and 1 week on, although you know what's coming next, it is still shocking. Down below, the hospital's other 230 closed-circuit cameras captured the chaos.
The babies were right here.
Nurse Pamela Zenoun was in the ward above, the neonatal intensive care unit. They treat premature babies. This video shows her working just moments before the blast. She feels the first tremor, and then the room collapses. Smoke, rubble, and fear.
The other nurses were very badly injured?
They were very badly injured. They were all bleeding. They were standing over there. And they looked at me and I looked at them. I started to scream, what happened? They just looked at me this way and looked at each other. And they were all bleeding. They couldn't even talk. All the ceiling was on the floor. I grabbed the ceilings with my hands and tried to pull them away just to know where the babies were because the incubators moved. They weren't on the same place. I held the 3 babies and went through this door. We needed to go to the exit. We couldn't find the exit. We used that the exit was on our left side. Now there's nothing on our left side. I walked around 5 kilometers on the street so I could get the babies to another hospital.
But you saved them, you saved everybody. Wow.
The Lebanese Prime Minister has stepped down along with the country's entire government. Many people had accused the government of negligence after an explosion that killed more than 200 people and injured thousands more, exposed a fractured nation suffering through an economic crisis and years of conflict. I spoke to the son and brother of 2 former Lebanese Prime Ministers, Baha Hariri, who commends Hassan Diab for resigning today.
I truly believe change must come. And I believe we need an independent government, non-sectarian, that has in it people that are professional, because there are many issues that needs to be addressed. As you know, we are in a financial and economic collapse. And then what happened on the 4th, the massive incident, the horrific incident that happened, that left us still now with 6,000 injured and over 158 people dead. This government must address many issues, primarily the construction, the aid, getting an IMF package in, and also eradicate, it's been 15 years, eradicate that corruption that is deeply entrenched in all aspects of government. So it has a lot of work to do, but yes, I believe that if we have such government, and also a government that has few ministers, we are a small government. We are a small country. We don't need 30 ministers like we were. We need a very efficient team that can move for us to take matters and move forward. But that is completely in divorce with that marriage between Hezbollah and the warlords. Complete divorce.
Economists expected the UK to go into recession because of the lockdown, but the actual figures published today reveal the fastest crash ever recorded, a contraction of more than 20% in 3 months. The Chancellor Rishi Sunak said the government is dealing with something unprecedented.
When we were chatting a few months ago, I said that hard times were coming, and today's numbers show that hard times are here. Hundreds of thousands of people have already lost their job, and many more will. What I would say, though, is difficult decisions do lie ahead for all of us, but I want to reassure people that we will get through this, and nobody will be left without hope and opportunity.
Why do you think it is that the UK has been so badly hit? I mean, you know, the deepest recession of pretty much any G7 economy.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair question to ask, and as I look at it, I think the primary explanation is the composition of our economy. Social activities, for example, going out for a meal, going to the cinema, shopping, those kinds of things comprise a much larger share of our economy than they do for most of our European comparative countries. So in a situation where you've literally shut down all those industries for almost 3 months, a long period of time, it is unfortunately going to have an outsized impact on our economy.
When you look at the numbers that we've just seen, you know, 20.4% in terms of the fall in GDP, was that just a price worth paying for keeping the disease under control?
I think we took the decisions that we did at the time we did in order to protect people's lives and suppress the spread of the virus. And those were the right decisions. But it is also now right, given the progress we've made, to have safely reopened our economy. It's not a sustainable situation to have vast swathes of our economy essentially shut down, and that's why we have been able to successfully reopen bits and do it in a safe way. And as people get back to going shopping or going out for a meal or indeed getting back to their office, they will see that it's a new normal, it's a safe normal. We have made changes, guidance is there to ensure that safety.
And they shouldn't be too nervous about the virus, should they?
No, I think as people will see as they go out, whether it's to a shop, whether it's to a restaurant, or whether it indeed is back to their office, I think they will see changes, and those changes are quite tangible, and people should take confidence from those changes to know that this is now a new, safer environment for me to go and do all those things.
The Labour MP, Dawn Butler, has accused the Metropolitan Police of racial profiling after the car she was in was stopped in London. The former Shadow Equalities Minister filmed the incident in Hackney, in which she said officers stopped her friend who was driving. Here's just a little bit of what happened.
The other police officer asked me where I live, where I was going. That's also none of your business.
Yeah, I've not...
It's none of your... Do you understand that?
Yeah.
It is none
But when you're
of
driving a car on a public road,
business.
then under the Road Traffic Act, then we can stop a vehicle and we can check the driver. So if you don't
but it's none of your business where I'm going.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to drive a car other than on a public road?
Well, following the release of that video, the Metropolitan Police said their officers had incorrectly entered the registration into a police computer, which identified the car as registered to an address in Yorkshire. You heard that reference there. The statement added, once the mistake was realised, the officer sought to explain this to the occupants, were then allowed on their way. No searches were carried out on any individual.
Implying that you're only allowed to stay confined in your own area is a real head-scratcher, because I don't understand that or why that is a point of questioning. And then another officer came to just inflame the situation. And I didn't understand why she came to inflame the situation. One officer, we were having a perfectly good conversation, and I'm trying to explain to him that if you're profiling cars that are not registered in the area, that seems to be a ridiculous way to police, and also very time-consuming. The institution is racist. I mean, the other police officers came and said, I can't see what's in the back of your car. You don't need to see what's in the back of the car. Why do you need to see what's in the back of the car? What is that about? So there is an institutional racism in the police. We know that, and it needs to be taken out. It is cancerous, and it needs to be cut out of the police force. And it's urgent. It's absolutely urgent. And I actually wasn't going to go live with this at all, but because that other police officer inflamed the situation so much, you know, I mean, I was getting irritated and angry at the way she was approaching me. And I just think it's just such a bad way to treat people. And this is a police service that's supposed to police everyone. And I understand that there are issues and they need to be dealt with, but deal with it in an equitable way. Don't deal with it in an unfair way and a biased way or a racist way. Deal with it properly, and then we can all be on board with that. We're two black people in a car driving through Hackney, and they thought they'll stop them. I mean, you can drive anywhere you want to. We don't actually have a police date that says you're not allowed to drive from Brent to Hackney or from Chinkford to Brent. You can drive anywhere you want. It is a free country. So, the police have to examine what's going on, and we have to work together. And that's the thing. I want to work with the police to get this right. It is imperative and it is important, and we need to do that.
It's an almost completely anonymous building in central Caracas, but it is a high-security prison. No outsiders have ever been allowed in here before. This secretive institution has a special class of inmate. This is where the Venezuelans lock up the foreigners. Salvatore Cerelli is from Southampton. His father is Italian. He's serving 13 years for cocaine smuggling. He admits trafficking several times. He was, he says, trying to raise money to come home to the UK.
We went in broke. So I decided, not them, I decided to do that. So because to get more money to go to England, because we don't have money enough to go to England, to survive in England. So we had to sell the houses here, the cars, the lands and everything to go back to Europe.
In the culture room, basically the library, John Tweel looks after the prison books. Originally from Spalding, the 58-year-old is serving 15 years, caught with 31 kilos of cocaine at the airport. Like most of the prisoners, any despair has long since gone.
When you've been in prison 8 years, 8.5 years, it's no good crying. I'm going to cry. I'm be sad of it. I'm sick as it is. I can't. It's no good me getting down and depressed because I'll get sick, more sick. So it's no good getting depressed about these things. And hopefully my sentence is finished soon.
Alexis Sanchez is from New Jersey in the United States. A man in his hostel room was carrying drugs. He wasn't, he claims. Either way, he's now serving 17 years for dealing. Mr. Sanchez wants to be repatriated to the United States, but with relations between the US and Venezuela at an all-time low, he knows his case is not a priority.
Maybe because of my nationality, they could disapprove. This is just an opinion that I'm having. It's not a fact, you understand? But we all know that in politics, these type of things tend to happen from time to time.
Now, it is an A-level results day like never before. Thousands of pupils who never sat an exam this summer because of the coronavirus pandemic collected scores created by a centralised computer system. Well, more than a third received one grade lower than they were predicted.
I still had some hope that they would see my last mocks and not just my mocks from year 12, which weren't particularly good, and take that into account. Unfortunately, they haven't. So it's not exactly in a good situation at the moment.
What if I'd have taken them? Would I have got a higher grade? But you know what? I'm quite relieved just that it's over now.
Most people, I don't think they've shown their full potentials throughout the mocks and throughout the years.
I mean, you can appeal, but I'm going to wait till my UCAS comes through to see how that works. And if that's good, then I'll go to my first choice university. If not, I'll see how the appeal process works.
The government says they can appeal and potentially fall back on their mock results instead.
We were in a position where we made a decision to give young people, wanted to enhance the fairness, make sure that enhance the options for appeal, make sure that young people have the best possible options in front of them. And Ofqual are working at great speed to ensure that this will be out and with schools in the next few days. And, I know that the people at Ofqual are working incredibly hard to ensure that that happens.
You've known this was coming for months. People have been warning you of this situation for months. Ofqual have clearly been bumped into this at the last minute. That's why they're not doing it until Monday. I mean, I just don't understand why, given the fact that you knew these problems existed within the system, that they were warned about it, that you waited until the Scottish Government acted, of all things, the day before A-level results come out. It looks horribly rushed, back of a fag packet, reactionary policy-making on the hoof.
Well, what you've seen is both England, Wales and Northern Ireland follow the same approach in terms of taking this approach because we feel it enhances fairness for students, and I think that's the right thing to do. Anything that I can do to make things more fair for students, give them the best possible options and make sure that they get the grades and the results that they deserve as a result of the work, I think that's the right thing to do.
Senator Kamala Harris has been chosen by Democrat presidential candidate Joe Biden to be his running mate for the upcoming US election. Joe Biden tweeted earlier today that if they won, they would inherit multiple crises, a nation divided and a world in disarray. We won't have a minute to waste, he said. That's exactly why I picked her. She's ready to lead on day one.
First of all, is the answer yes?
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe, and I am ready to work. I am ready to do this with you, for you. I'm just deeply honored, and I'm very excited.
There we are. That's the moment she said yes. Capri Cafaro, a former Democratic Ohio Senate Minority Leader, is now a political commentator, and she joins us from Hubbard in Ohio. Good to have you with us. So, is this a good pick by Joe Biden?
I think so. I mean, Joe Biden right now is poised to at least continue to be in the lead in a number of very important states here that are critical to a victory in November against Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is someone that I see as a safe pick because she has been vetted through being a candidate for president of the United States during the Democratic primary process. So people are somewhat familiar with her. She has shown herself to have great debate skills and legal acumen, both on the debate stage as well as a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. She has a law enforcement background as a former prosecutor and attorney general of one of the largest states in the country. While she has all of this experience and she's somewhat known, she's not such a known quantity that people are bored with her.
Yeah, so how do you think Trump really feels about the sort of Biden-Kamala Harris partnership? He says, you know, it would have been his pick, but I mean, do you think that's true, or do you think he's concerned?
Well, he says that about pretty much everybody. I mean, he's said that about anybody that has ever been a front runner. Oh, I hope that's the case. I hope this is the nominee. I couldn't ask for anything better. You fill in the blank of the person. I think that Donald Trump likes to have a foil. He likes to have somebody that he can run against. He likes to, create an enemy. And I think that no matter who was on this ticket, I think that he would be doing that. I think that he has already shown that he is trying to paint Kamala Harris as someone who is too far to the left, too extreme, out of the mainstream of the American sort of political ideology, someone who's going to raise taxes, take your health care away, is going to defund the police, all these different issues. And he's also trying to set up Joe Biden, who has, a decades-long track record in government with a voting record that I think a lot of people see as more centrist or moderate. He's also trying to paint Joe Biden as a puppet of this growing progressive movement on the left in the Democratic Party. So who's to say? I think that, is Donald Trump worried? I think it depends on the day, depends on the mood. And he certainly has a very full plate as the sitting president of the United States with, this a pandemic that is really not particularly controlled, a shaky economy, and a lot of uncertainty we have as well in the United States as it pertains to kids going back to school.
Around 700 people have made the crossing in the past week, risking their lives on unsafe boats. Well, Sky's Ali Fortescue was also out in the Channel today, where she witnessed 4 boats being intercepted in just a few hours.
It's 4 a.m. on the English Channel. We're with Matt Coker, a local skipper. He knows these waters better than most. And in the last 2 years, he's seen the steady rise in migrant dinghies crossing the Channel.
At the moment, it looks like there's 13 on board, 1 female. Over.
Do you think this is one of the earlier boats we saw just on Calais Coast?
To be honest, it does look red, and it does look very overcrowded. So it could be that one we heard about earlier. So, and if that's the case, it's managed to cross the shipping lane with all them ships coming through.
You okay? Where are you going?
UK! England!
Why?
UK!
But how has the journey been?
Listen.
How are you feeling?
We are very bad.
So we're nearly at the right close to the day. What's going to happen now?
Well, at the moment, the border force is coming in to pick them up. I think they'll be here fairly soon, so it'll be before they land on the shore. And as the border force arrive, then we'll sort of move away to let them sort of pick them up and then deal with them. It looks like they're making quite good speed at the moment, so they may well even get to the shore. But,
and if they get to the shore, what happens?
if they get to the shore, then they normally push the boat off. They get out and push the boat off, and the boat drifts away, and then off they go. But I mean, there's going to be there'll probably be some border force people waiting down along this shoreline because they know they're coming in here. They've got their position.
Will they actually want to encounter border force?
I think quite often they want to be picked up. You know, I mean, they've just slowed up now. They've actually just slowed up, so they've probably seen the border force coming in behind us, and they're slowing up, waiting for them. And I think they want to be picked up because they want to be processed, don't they? Whereas if they don't get processed, they've got no chance of actually getting granted asylum.
And for you, kind of more generally, obviously today we've seen 4 boats. Do you ever foresee there being an end to this?
Not at the moment, really. No, they're always going to want to come over if they're going to get a better life, aren't they? I suppose anybody would. I mean, unless that sort of option isn't available, then they're always going to try and come over.
After 6 months of pandemic-enforced separation, the course of young love can run true once more. 16-year-olds Lily and Stephen both live with autism, but living without each other has made lockdown even tougher.
Why do you love Lily so much?
Because she buys me presents a lot, and I love her. Yeah.
And she's funny?
Yeah.
And beautiful?
Yeah.
Stephen brought flowers, a ring and a promise of marriage when they get older for the girl that he met on Valentine's Day last year.
What do you mean with me older?
Yeah.
At the special school they both attend in Llandudno.
This one, that's on, yeah.
Lily didn't know about today's surprise reunion, but she does know what she missed most about Stephen.
Not giving him a hug.
Oh, so you've managed to give him a hug today?
Yeah.
How good did that feel?
Amazing.
What did you think when he gave you the ring?
Oh my God.